Get the latest local news, obituaries, police splatter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more, as well as Bomb Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters. A growing trend for people of all ages is the use of e-bikes. Clinton Police Chief Ben Lowers explains that e-bikes have quickly become one of the fastest growing trends and recreations in the community. However, they have come with an increasing volume of traffic complaints, specifically involving younger operators.
And I know that you had Monticello's chief on maybe earlier this week or something. And that's the e-bikes. And I can tell you that is a discussion, not only within our office, but with the city council. You know, that is probably becoming the fastest, the quickest increasing fad now in the e-bikes. You know, I mean, I think it's a great resource. It's a great opportunity to be out and get out and whatnot. But we have so many young kids, teenagers and younger kids on these motorized bicycles. No issue there, but except for that it's so important that they understand the rules of the road. You know, they're not required to have a driver's license. They basically carry the same rights and obligations as a pedal bicycle. However, we're getting so many complaints and so much discussion around, you know, safety at intersections, whipping in and out of cars, things of that nature. Forbid. I mean, we don't want anybody to get hurt. So if you have a child, if you've provided, you know, an e-bike to your kid, make sure that you're also having those responsible discussions about the rules of the road and bicycle safety. I really do. I hate to see them go away, but something has got to change because they're getting so popular. They're so common throughout town. And we just got to make sure that they are exercising the same rules of the road so we make sure that everybody's safe.
Because state law categorizes e-bikes alongside standard pedal bicycles, operators are not required to hold a valid driver's license. Chief Lowers is urging parents who purchase e-bikes for their children to remind them of e-bike safety and standard traffic laws.
And I mean, I think it's a great thing. You know, I love to see people out on them. I know a lot of people are riding them to work and things of that nature. That's fantastic. Where we're seeing the issues probably more so are the younger generation and the younger folks that are on them that, you know, quite frankly, they're not required to have a driver's license, but they've also not been through that driver training to maybe understand the rules of the road and the rights and obligations that they have when they're out there amongst the motoring traffic. Ask people, if you're a parent of one of those kids, make sure that you're having that conversation to make sure of safe operation. We certainly don't want to be making a horrific phone call that somebody had gotten hurt because of irresponsible operation. That is a discussion with us. It is, like I said, probably the fastest growing complaint or topic of conversation that we've had, you know, starting way earlier this spring and the first sign of warm weather, and even to some degree last summer. But they're just gaining popularity so fast and becoming so common that it is something that we're going to need to address.
Historically, the summer months bring an increase in pedestrian traffic and community mobility, extending late into the evening hours. To prevent crimes of opportunity, Chief Lowers reminds residents to lock up their properties and secure their vehicles.
You know, we talk time and time again about, especially this time of year, you know, historically, this is our busiest time of year as we're coming out of wintertime. You know, everybody kind of shaking off those winter cold weather blues. And the increase in pedestrian bicycle traffic, the increase in traffic around the community into the late night hours, as you said, taking that walk late at night after it cools off. This is a time that we need to remind people to lock things up, not provide a crime of opportunity for someone. We've been fairly fortunate for some time, but we still do have those isolated incidents of vehicle burglaries. So many of those, I can tell you, because of the technology and car alarms and things of that nature anymore, we have very few forced entry burglaries to vehicles anymore. I can't tell you when we did have the last one, but it is so common, probably one of the most common crimes that we encounter. And I listen to the other law enforcement leaders that you have right here on your show, and it seems having the same thing in Monticello and Lincoln and various areas. So it's so common of criminal trespass to vehicles that turn into theft or burglary.
Chief Lowers is imploring property owners to remove valuables, including cell phones, purses, wallets, and cash from their vehicles in the evening, or at a minimum, ensure they are entirely hidden from plain sight.
We have so many people out and about and late night vehicles. Make sure that those vehicles are being locked. Make sure they're being locked. Make sure that you're taking valuables, purses, wallets, cell phones, things of that nature. First and foremost, remove them from the car. But if you don't remove them from the car, certainly make sure that they're not visible from the outside. And we need to do our part to at least reduce the likelihood of becoming a victim of such a crime. So first and foremost, remove those valuables, lock those cars up, lock them up. If you have the ability, park in a well-lit area, driveway, things of that nature. We love motion lights. And quite frankly, there's so many cameras around anymore, another conversation for another time. We're working towards the installation of our flock cameras, but quite frankly, you can't drive down a single block or walk down a single block in even in our small community and not be on somebody's residential ring camera or video surveillance. All those things, we've got to do our part to minimize the likelihood of becoming a victim. And that starts with, responsible care of our property and make sure things are locked up and put away.
E-bike ordinances are something the city of Clinton leadership is looking into. Other communities have been proactive in addressing the use of these. However, pending legislation at the state level could impact what local governments are allowed or not allowed to do. Coming up shortly on this expanded newscast, Dudley Smith Farm Field Day highlights runoff research. Despite the green leaves on the trees and warm weather, the Clinton Chamber of Commerce is already thinking about the haunted house season. Chamber Director Janice Peterson says they have to get started early to craft the perfect scares and spooky surprises for guests. It takes not only time but volunteers, and she says they are looking for extra hands now.
Everybody thinks it's so early. Oh, you're working on the haunted house now? We have to, because any new room that we surprise you with, any change that we surprise you with doesn't come overnight because there's building involved, there's decorating involved. This year, there's a lot of building involved. So we're working. We also are looking for volunteers to help. Just give us a call at the chamber office, 217-935-3364. Stop in and see us. Email us at events@clintonilchamber.com. If you're interested in helping, it's a volunteer job, I should say. Don't need any skills. Just show up or just get a hold of us. We'll get you the times and where to show up. And it's fun. We all have a good time. We do. We're a family. Our haunted house volunteers, we're a family, and we have a good time. We get the job done, and we look forward to. I'm really looking forward to this year. There's some really, I think, really cool surprises going on. Yeah, nice. And I can't tell you, obviously.
The focus right now is on construction as they perform maintenance and change room layouts for this Halloween. Peterson adds that it is common to have to dry the basement due to flooding, which they deep clean before the house opens.
Building stuff in the house.
Okay.
Because we try to make sure that we change up some surprises every year, whether it be room designs, whether it be just some maintenance on the house. For example, maintenance on the house, we need roofs. We're getting our roof fixed next week, which is a blessing because the porch that I stand on is about ready to collapse. And it's been that way. We're just waiting for those heavy rains to be like, oh my gosh. But so we're getting that kind of stuff done, and that we need to do before we open. Typically work nights are Tuesdays and Thursdays. But I know some of the guys will go over in an afternoon if they're not working or whatever, they'll go over an afternoon and work on some stuff. And we have to be careful. It gets so hot sometimes that when it gets super hot, we don't have work days. And when the storms too, that doesn't help
that
either,
doesn't help either.
because we probably we will be over there this morning checking the basement if Aaron hasn't been there already checking the basement.
Okay.
As hard as it rained last night, it would not surprise me if she texts me and says we've got 2 inches of water in the basement. We have to drain it out. It just drains out.
Wow.
We don't have, we put it will drain on, like, let's example, if we do have that, it will drain out over the next day or so. And it drains out pretty good. Then we'll put fans down there. And then before we bleach everything because we do get water down there.
Right.
So, but yeah, so it will not surprise me. She'll probably check it. She's probably either there now or she's checking it on her way to work.
Peterson emphasizes that volunteers need no experience to lend a hand. She notes tasks can be as simple as painting a wall or assisting with handiwork, and they are happy to train any excited volunteers.
Just ask them to, I don't care if they have any skills, just come show up. We'll show you how to paint. We'll show you how to use a hammer. It might be just as simple as lining up 2x4s so somebody else, or holding on to them so somebody else can nail them in, or like we teach, we will train anybody on what to do. They're going to have to, some of the stuff this year, they're going to be teaching Aaron and I how to do because it's stuff we don't have a clue. And we both know that we don't because they've already told us what some of the stuff they're doing. So we'll say, okay, this is kind of what's going on tonight. And if you're there, you might say, oh, I really want to help build this room. If you're going to be cutting and sawing and nailing, I want to help. Yeah, fine, help.
Okay.
So we do. We are limited. We have so few volunteers sometimes that it's just everybody will kind of grab a room and go do whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna shout out Steve Mead, Mike Brady, Jacob Brady, Kelsey Brady has started to show up with us.
Cool.
We have Grayson Mandrell, Greg Mandrell, Aaron and myself, Marion Broussard. I'm forgetting somebody, I'm sure. Caleb Smith. That's kind of our go-to people, and we'd be lost without them. We are just, they are, like I said, we're family. We are a family.
The Terror on Washington Street Haunted House is open every weekend in October, including on Halloween night. They are also actively searching for volunteer groups to work the house while it is open. Learn more by visiting clintonilchamber.org or by finding them on Facebook. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
It's the quiet moments you count on. A call that connects instantly, a show that never buffers, a home that just works. That's the difference with Connexus Fiber Internet. We built a buried fiber network designed for consistency, earning us the title of top-rated fiber internet provider in Illinois. With plans starting as low as $25 a month and 3-year price lock options, it's reliability you can feel without the unpredictability. Because with Connexus, connection means everything. Experience better at Connexus.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
Looking for a new Silverado? This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. We have a good selection of new Silverado inventory. We have Silverados in 1500s, 2500s, and 3500s with several trim levels, custom, LT, RST, LTZ, and yes, even high countries. All our inventory is priced for our summer savings season. Baum Chevrolet Buick. Together, let's drive. BaumChevroletBuick.com right from the start.
News time is 22 minutes after the top of the hour. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. A University of Illinois assistant professor hopes to use research to uncover ways to improve the quality of runoff collected from farms. The project involves bioreactors and water recycling in preventing harmful pollution while also returning nitrogen to the atmosphere. Dr. Luciano Alves de Oliveira is conducting the research. It is in part an extension of his earlier work.
It's the bioreactor and drainage water recycling, which are complementary practices of what Giovanni just showed. The bioreactor is an edge of the field practice that we installed in the edge of the field. So if there is water coming out, it's going to go through that chamber that will have the water treated. So we transform the nitrate that is coming. It could potentially contaminate the stream. into nitrogen gas, which is not problematic at all. So our atmosphere is 75% of nitrogen. So we're just basically cleaning the water. And drainage water recycling is another concept that instead of letting the water go, we just hold it and apply back to the field whenever the crop needs most. So we're looking at end of June, beginning of July, perhaps late July, beginning of August is when the crops are pumping water from the soil. Sometimes we went in a little drought. We could potentially put the water that we're draining during the spring back for the crops.
The bioreactor being used for this research was set up 10 years ago at the Dudley Smith Research Farm Center in Christian County. This allowed the research to begin in progress in a timely fashion.
There is a lifespan for the bioreactors to be 10 years, so we're looking at what is going to happen right now, and the bioreactor is working perfectly. So we're looking at about 60% of nitrogen reduction. So 60% of the nitrogen that go inside the bioreactor is treated and transformed into nitrogen gas, and it's been great. I worked as a postdoc before, now as a professor. I am able to continue the project, which is good, and seeing more research needs to be done and looking at how to replace the wood chips that are being eaten by the bacteria that are there treating the water for us. So the idea, the continuation for that would check what is the state of the wood chips right now and check if there is any need for replacement and perhaps renew it. But so far so good. We didn't have any problem with the treatment.
One challenge with this project has been conducting the water recycling. It is set up on a farm closer to the university, thanks to the infrastructure and geographic setting there.
So it's being interesting to see all the challenges that we have to develop. It's all the handouts that we have. Drainage water recycling has a star mark. It's the new practice. We don't have data. So we're trying to observe what we can do right now to obtain this data and show what is the potential reduction. It's being demonstrated already by Iowa State and Purdue that we can have increments of 15 to 20% in yield as a benefit for the farmer. And there is also reduction of the nutrients being released because you're keeping the water in the landscape, you're not letting the water go. So it's like a dual edge benefit. We're just starting. I hope that in the next few years I can bring more proper data from Central Illinois for you, and that we can demonstrate that here is a good practice too.
The Dudley Smith Field Day in Christian County was last week. More information on the Dudley Smith Farm Field Day and the research through the University of Illinois Extension more broadly is available at extension.illinois.edu. Illinois State Police continue to remind motorists of Scott's Law, or the Move Over Law. Ryan Wagand is a safety education unit trooper.
Hopefully everybody's aware of it, but just to kind of remind people of Scott's Law. The name came from it's the Move Over Law. It came from Chicago Fire Lieutenant Scott Gillen, who tragically lost his life in December of 2000 when he was working a scene on the Dan Ryan in Chicago. But the law, it basically is just to protect those that protect you on the shoulders. So the Scott's Law applies to all stationary vehicles with flashing or hazard lights activated. So that includes squad cars, tow trucks, construction vehicles, stranded motorists, and even pedestrians. So the fine for a Scott's Law, anywhere from $250 to $10,000. And if you hit a vehicle or a person and cause injury, that can elevate that to a Class 4 felony. So the penalties are severe because the stakes are pretty high.
So far this year, Illinois State Police troopers have been victims of 9 Scott's Law crashes with 2 injuries reported. Less than 2 months away from the Illinois State Fair, the Illinois Specialty Growers Association is always looking for volunteers and sponsors for their farm stand, the Illinois Department of Agriculture tent. Regella Scavuzzo is the Associate Director of Food Systems Development for Illinois Farm Bureau.
Well, you can get enrolled right on the specialtygrowers.org website. We have want to be a volunteer or want to be a sponsor. We have a few different ways you can sponsor. You can spend a 3.5-hour shift with us or more. You can be a partner a day, which means that your organization, your farm, your company agrees to take on 10 volunteer slacks, and we promote you as a partner. And we highlight you both on social media and at the fair. And then new this year, we also have sponsorships to sponsor products or just be a general sponsor of the booth. And the thing about this is that this only works with volunteers and time. This is more, it's a twofold activity. One is really our primary fundraiser for the year, but it's also our largest opportunity to talk about the Illinois Specialty Growers Association to a huge market, both with local, state, and federal agencies, government officials, but also the consumer. A lot of people don't know things about like the fact that apple cider is 100% apples with absolutely nothing else in it, straight off the farms of Illinois. And we can grow all these different things. And so it's a huge moment for us to promote the industry, connect with agriculture, and do a variety of things, but it's only possible through the help of our supporters and our friends.
Again, more info at specialtygrowers.org. The Illinois State Fair runs August 13th through 23rd. Last year at the farm stand, 190 volunteer shifts were filled, equating to 655 hours of service. Get news anytime at DeWitt County's #1 source for news, sports, police blotter, obituaries, and more, DeWittDailyNews.com.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. In Switzerland to launch the U.S. negotiations with Iran, Vice President Vance says the talks had gotten off to a good start and they will continue even though he is now back home. Among other things, Iran has agreed to allow international nuclear inspectors back into the country. Those inspectors are to work in accordance with guidelines set out by the U.S. Many years ago, the Iranians kicked all the inspectors out of the country. Most of the $80 billion the Trump administration is seeking from Congress would pay for the cost of the Iran war. Following Senate action, the House could take a vote later today on legislation aimed at helping more people join the home ownership ranks. And on Wall Street, stock futures this morning are sharply lower. The Dow futures are down by 266 points. NASDAQ futures off 830 points. This is SRN News.
Are you carrying more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Do you feel like you're running on a financial treadmill, making payment after payment, month after month, yet never getting ahead? If you're tired of watching your hard-earned money disappear into interest charges, there may be options available to help you take back control of your finances. At Total Financial Freedom, they'll show you what qualified consumers may be able to save through programs designed to help them resolve debt faster than making minimum payments alone. The consultation is free, confidential, and comes with absolutely no obligation. Why spend years, sometimes decades, paying thousands in interest when there may be a better path forward? Total Financial Freedom is a Christian-owned company that has helped thousands of Americans pursue financial freedom for nearly 20 years and is proudly A+ rated and accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now and ask how you can receive a complimentary copy of The Debt Dietitian. Stop running in place. Start moving toward financial freedom at 866-744-7344. 866-744-7344.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. In a game heard on WHOW, Sam Antonacci hit a walk-off 2-run single in the bottom of the 9th inning after Cleveland scored twice in the top half to take the lead, and the Chicago White Sox beat the Cleveland Guardians 6-5 on Monday night.
The White Sox opened a 6-game homestand on Monday against the AL Central leading Guardians. The Sox could not hold a 3-0 lead, but Sam Antonacci did his best as he put the Sox back in front in the 7th.
The 2-0, swinging a broken bat bouncer, and it's under the glove of Hoskins into right. Braden Montgomery will score.
But even that wasn't going to hold up as the Guardians grabbed a 5-4 lead in the 9th, forcing the Sox to come back one more time. And if you haven't learned by now, what has taken you so long?
The pitch. Sam with a base hit into center. 1 run in. Here comes Peters. Save. They win it.
With the win, the Sox are back atop the American League Central, tied with the Guardians. I'm Jeff Meller, and I'll have your pregame coverage starting at 6 p.m. Tuesday night on the ESPN 1000 Hard Rock Casino White Sox Network.
Here, the second of the Sox 3-game series with the Guardians tonight on WHOW. Pre-game starts at 6 p.m. Rookies J.J. Weatherholt and Nathan Church each had 2 hits, sparking the St. Louis Cardinals to a 3-2 victory over the Arizona Diamondbacks on Monday night. Andre Palante is 9-4 and allowed 6 hits and 1 run in 6 innings to secure the victory. Palante has earned wins in his last 4 starts and has given up 2 runs or less in 5 of his last 6 outings. St. Louis has won all 5 of those games. Riley O'Brien, the 5th Cardinals pitcher, notched his 19th save in 23 opportunities by working the 9th. Merrill Kelly is 5-7 and pitched 6 innings, giving up 3 runs on 7 hits. Ketel Marte and Corbin Carroll each had 2 hits for Arizona. St. Louis took a 1-0 lead in the 3rd on a 1-out infield single by Alec Burleson that drove in Church. The Cardinals extended their lead to 3-0 with a 2-run 4th. Blaze Jordan's sacrifice fly to deep center scored Jimmy Crooks. Church followed with a run-scoring single to shallow center, driving in Mason Wynn. Former Cardinal Nolan Arenado made his first appearance in St. Louis since he was traded in January. Arenado played 5 seasons with the Cardinals. Many fans gave him a standing ovation before his first at-bat in the 2nd, and he singled to left. Arenado drove in a run with a 6th-inning groundout, cutting St. Louis's lead to 3-1. The second Diamondbacks run came on a 440-foot homer to center by Tommy Troy in the 7th, off reliever Ryan Stanek, who was making his 500th career appearance. Stanek is one of 13 active pitchers with 500 games. Arizona lefty Eduardo Rodriguez is 6-2 with a 2.45 ERA and faces right-hander Kyle Leahy, who is 5-4 with a 4.63 ERA in the second of a 4-game series. In scores from around the MLB yesterday, the Detroit Tigers beat the New York Yankees 5-3, while the Kansas City Royals beat the Tampa Bay Rays 2-1. The Texas Rangers beat the Miami Marlins 4-3, while the Toronto Blue Jays took down the Houston Astros 4-2. The Milwaukee Brewers beat the Cincinnati Reds 2-1 in 10 innings, while the LA Dodgers beat the Minnesota Twins 2-1. The Washington Nationals took down the Philadelphia Phillies 4-1, while the Colorado Rockies beat the Boston Celtics 3-2. The Baltimore Orioles routed the LA Angels 6-1, while the San Diego Padres shut out the Atlanta Braves 1-0. The Chicago Cubs and the New York Mets were set to play yesterday. However, that game was postponed and will now be a part of a doubleheader at Citi Field on Wednesday. The Minnesota Timberwolves are trading Julius Randle and a first-round pick to the Brooklyn Nets as part of a 3-team deal that also includes the Chicago Bulls. The Timberwolves are sending the 28th pick in Tuesday's draft to the Nets and will be receiving the number 33 pick that will be made in the second round on Wednesday night. The Bulls will be receiving Nic Claxton from Brooklyn in the trade. For Minnesota, the trade opens a slew of financial possibilities. It created a $33 million trade exception, plus gave the Timberwolves room that they already used to re-sign Ayo Dosunmu. Dosunmu had a 43-point game off the bench during the opening round of this year's playoffs when Minnesota ousted Denver. Randle, a 3-time All-Star, will be moving to his 5th team after stints with New York, the Los Angeles Lakers, New Orleans, and the Timberwolves. He averaged 21.1 points this past season, though shot just 39% from the field and 24% from three-point range in Minnesota's 12 playoff contests. Claxton just finished his 7th NBA season, all with Brooklyn. He averaged 11.7 points this past season. Giannis Antetokounmpo wants more championships, and so do the Miami Heat. Their interests are officially aligned, and the Heat finally have another superstar. Ending a marathon watch for the next great Miami get, the Heat landed Antetokounmpo, a 2-time NBA MVP and 10-time All-Star from the Milwaukee Bucks on Monday night in exchange for a massive haul of players and draft picks. The terms, Antetokounmpo and Bobby Portis are heading to Miami for Wisconsin native Tyler Hero, Jamie Jaquez Jr., Khalil Ware, and Kasparas Giannis. Milwaukee also gets the number 13 selection that will be made in Tuesday night's NBA draft, along with a first-round pick swap in 2030, first-round picks in 2031 and 2033, and a second-rounder in 2033. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL Sports Wire on your preferred social media platforms, and get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Mainly sunny skies today with daytime highs approaching 77. Northerly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 58 tonight, partly cloudy skies. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Tomorrow, chance of thunderstorms. Daytime highs approaching 80. Hear weather twice